Hello.
Hi,
So let's go ahead and start by just introducing yourselves.
I'm Madeline,
I'm Jay.
and we're in
Eh,
love. Sorry.
Awesome. So
No, we
Accurate.
really hate each other. Um,
you're here, you're together. Uh, so when you first joined FitTogether, what were the problems you were looking to solve, and like what kind of outcomes were you after when we first approached you with this?
do you want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay. I was just looking to make changes with my health and specifically my diet, how much I was eating, and trying to incorporate more conscious movement.
Hmm. Cool. And so for you, what do you think it would have meant to you at that time to feel like you achieved that? Like, what would that mean for you?
Well, I'm like old school, grew up doing Weight Watchers under the watchful eye of my extremely body conscious mother. So I think initially I was trying to get to some level of weight loss. But then as we progressed and you were scheduling workouts, I noticed that I was getting a lot of additional strength and developing muscles that I hadn't really messed with much. And I think that in combination with trying to be more cognizant of what I was eating was really a nice change
Hmm.
instead of just being obsessed with losing weight.
Yeah, that's great. There was a saying going around for a while in our community that strong is the new skinny, and I love it because it's about empowering people and not chasing the wrong metrics and
Mhm.
and feeling really empowered with what you can do versus what you think you should be striving for. So I think
Yeah, and I also learned through you guys that that kind of method of like quick aggressive weight loss can be detrimental in the long run, which I wasn't aware of. And in my family, like I'm one of three daughters, and like my whole life we have all been, I wouldn't say yo-yoing in an extreme way, but kind of like fluctuating on a like 25-pound circuit. And I wonder if that has to do with that attitude towards like quick weight loss as opposed to retraining your mind to thinking about making changes for the long run, and the idea that your weight can be the same but the physiology of your body can completely change, which I don't know that I have noticed because I mean we've only been doing this a month, and I haven't been like obsessively tracking my weight, but I have lost a few pounds, and then like I said I just noticed muscle definition that I hadn't seen before, so that was exciting.
yeah,
And
totally
Jay
is.
noticed lots of effects as well while he was flat on his back.
Yeah, that early injury was not a good timing for you, but
Do
we
you
we
want to talk about what your goals were when you started the program? Whether
Well,
you accomplished your goals or not?
I did not accomplish my goals because I did not participate in the way I had intended, that's for sure. But I wanted to be healthier and feel better and like get into a routine of fitness.
yeah.
Which you have done in a way. You're incorporating more movement in your day, and we're collagen peptiding it up. That's hard to say. We're taking collagen peptides. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And you
Well,
noticed that that was helpful for your joints.
Yeah.
yeah, I noticed that too when I first started taking it. Now I take it all the time, so now I have nothing to compare it to. But when I first started taking it, I did notice a big difference. Well, we still have ideas for you, Jay, so don't be discouraged.
Okay, good.
um, so Madeline, you just answered some of my next question was like some of the takeaways that you got from this, and you pretty much already answered that. So I'm just curious if you could elaborate on like any one of those and how you think it might help you moving forward.
I think the biggest thing that I'm trying to wrap my brain around is this idea of discipline. I'm not a naturally disciplined person at all. And you had mentioned, Cody, that it takes a while to get your body and brain into the habit of movement if it's not normal for you. I mean, obviously we all move around every day, but like this idea of a 10-minute dynamic stretch, which this is the crazy part. When I do that 10-minute dynamic stretch video, I feel very good. And my brain is saying, hey, you should do this every morning. But then my brain's also saying, oh my God, this is so tedious. I want it to stop right now. And that has nothing to do with your instruction and everything to do with my ADD and lack of attention. But I think just trying to get into the swing of being disciplined about taking time for movement and exercise, even if it doesn't, especially if it doesn't come naturally to you, that's my big takeaway and something I'm going to be trying to stick with in some way.
Yeah, and I would even consider, reframing the idea of discipline. We had a whole podcast episode once where we were talking about how the word discipline is kind of a swear word in this household because it has a lot of negative connotations. And Cody and I, very similarly to you, just don't feel like we fit in a lot of boxes, and being regimented, even though it can feel really good for us, trying to work our way back into it, maybe at a time that we hadn't been, feels so hard.
Yeah.
And not just because it is hard to break into routines or to develop new practices, but I think there's just a lot of rejection just with the sound of the word of being disciplined. It has an air to it, a feel to it that like neither one of us really vibe with either.
Yeah. So we've tried to reframe it a little bit into like, we get to do this thing instead of we have to do this thing, because some people can't, like because of injuries or whatever, and so like it's kind of a privilege to be able to move while you still can, before you're old and feeble. And so I don't know, those mindsets don't always help when it's like time, it's like, oh, it's time. But it is a good practice, I think.
Do you want to talk about that? We've been thinking a lot about movement and getting older and like bodily limits with Jay's injury. What are your plans for physical activity moving forward? I'm trying to set you up for answering.
I think it's important, and it's taken a new priority for me to stretch, warm up, exercise, eat better, treat my body better overall, and so that I can live a happier, healthier, longer life. And I mean, I'm going to physical therapy, I'm getting massage, I'm stretching and doing little exercises way more than I ever have. And also I'm prioritizing what I eat and what I put into my body a lot more than I ever have.
That's great.
Yeah, we've been trying to be way more conscious about that. That's been good. Some people fell off the wagon a little bit a couple days ago due to outstanding health circumstances. Their cookies needed to be made, but for the most part, like I mean, I cook for us mostly, and I cook for us always, 3 meals a day, every single day. And I've been trying to make protein a priority, like Tali said. It's like blows me away, this idea that I would somehow eat equivalent to how many pounds I weigh in grams of protein. I'm like not even close, but I'm closer than I was. And then we've been doing this thing where I have a terrible sweet tooth. I love eating sugar, but I know that sugar is bad for me. So I have been making a shift away from like junky food that exists in my office, and told my office mate to please not bring any more junky food snacks around me because I have very little self-control. And then I come home and we have hot cocoa breaks where I make hot cocoa just with like cocoa powder and a really small amount of sugar, and then we put our collagen peptides in that too.
Fancy.
It's so tasty, and that kind of hits my sweet tooth in a satisfying, like more sustaining way.
Nice.
Awesome. And there's like it's a little like ritualistic, like something that you guys can do together.
Yeah. And that's a great lead in for my next question, which actually I'm just curious because we have pretty much just been exclusively talking about like fitness, nutrition. And I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about any of the connection stuff that we put out there for you, like the 5 touch points or anything like that that you were able to practice. Were you able to get to any of those, and like how did that feel for you guys?
How was the 5 touch points, honey?
Touching.
I want you to talk about it. Do you remember?
I feel like having a goal that we both have in mind to share and to work towards has kind of held each of us more accountable in eating healthier and talking more about like planning out more, which is nice.
So I think doing the 5 touch point activity was good. We both were able to express not necessarily, oh, here's a friend, some insecurities, but like things that we were not feeling strong about in our relationship. And then we did kind of a follow-up thing the other day where we were talking about answering like 9 questions to go deeper into your relationship from a Instagram therapist that I follow. So that was nice. I think it helps us get on the same page.
Yeah. Yeah, we found it's good to have prompts. I mean, we talk all the time, but it's kind of good to have prompts because it gets you out of your own frame of mind and into like a common ground.
Yes.
Because you're both hearing the same questions kind of thing. So hopefully that's something you guys can revisit from time to time. We do it every Sunday. It's like a weekly thing, just kind of a check-in. And at first I was like really resistant to it, to be honest with you, because I was like,
Yeah, you thought it was hokey.
this is cheesy. But I would say by like about week 4 or 5 of doing it, I'm the one that kind of brings it up probably as often as she does, because it's become a really valuable way to feel like we're on the same page about things, or bring up things that it may not seem like there's just like a good time or whatever that you might be struggling with, or even gratitude things. You know, all of the touch points are good, but it's definitely grown on me the more we've practiced it, that's for sure. So just a couple more things. I was curious if you could finish the following question or a sentence for me, one of you. My favorite thing about working with FitTogether is
my favorite thing about working with FitTogether is all the personalized attention. It was really cool to have a program that was completely like designed and put into place for me and my like level of interest in the different categories that we were talking about. Like you gave us an option of sort of like low, medium, high level intensity for how much movement we wanted to be doing, how much we wanted to be tracking what we ate. And so there was a lot of accountability because I specifically said, I want to be at this level. This is my choice. This is what I'd like to do. And then you were so responsive working with that. So it was really easy. And I did feel like there was pressure, but in a good way. And it wasn't, I mean, I started out being like, I'm going to do my workouts every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, no matter what. And you were very nice about that. You were like, oh, that's great. Good for you. And then I'm like, it's Thursday. I've done one workout. And you were still really nice about it. And you were like, well, that's okay. You can just move your little workout dot to a different day. But there was still accountability there.
Because we're watching you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's great.
So the last thing is, I'm just curious if you could tell me who you would recommend this for and why.
You can answer that one.
I think my sister would like to have a, regimen like this.
I would say couples in general. Well, actually, no. I think anybody would benefit from like individualized diet and movement instruction. And I know that you're specifically focusing on couples. And I think honestly, any couple could benefit from this because it's so customizable. But I guess if I had to summarize, I would say people who are interested in bettering their health.
Yeah, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Did you guys have anything you wanted to elaborate on or talk about while we're on?
Just thank you. I mean, I felt really lucky to get to be part of this sort of pilot experience, and I really enjoyed it. And I never would have done this if it hadn't been presented to me in the way that it had been, as sort of like, just try it out and be sort of an experimenter of this new thing for us. And I'm really glad I did. So thank you very much, both of you.
You're very welcome. And thanks for this. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.